Let's bring in former Secret Service agent, former DHS senior advisor, and author of Terrorists on the Border in Our Country, Charles Marino, as well as retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel and congressional candidate and former senior advisor to the DHS under Mayorkas, Berney Flowers. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Charles, my friend, I'll start with you. The election is in 23 days. Which campaign's policies are better for the security of the United States? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think former President Trump has no shortage of evidence that he was right, both in his policies and the fact that the policies of the Biden administration and the outcomes were predictable and preventable, and has made the country a lot more dangerous place. Look, from 180 different countries being encountered at our borders, we know that many of these individuals cannot be thoroughly vetted. The capabilities are just not there. And as a result, whether we're talking about encounters or complete gotaways, we have no idea who's coming into the country. And unfortunately, while there are those that are coming here for a better life, we won't, disparage that. But there are criminals and potential terrorists that are exploiting this system and exploiting the policies of the administration, which undermine law enforcement and the intelligence community.
Berney, you worked under Homeland Security Director Alejandro Mayorkas. How has he failed as a leader throughout this border crisis? Because you had a firsthand look.
Well, to tell you the truth, I was there when they brought in 85,000 Afghans, and we told the American people, Alejandro Mayorkas told the American people that these people were all vetted. And I feel bad because I was part of the operation to bring all these people here. Yeah, a lot of them would have been killed had we left them there. But we weren't able to vet all these people. We weren't able to vet them for physical ailments. We weren't able to vet them for security. It was just an unprecedented migration of people into the United States. And now we're suffering the consequences because a lot of these people, even if just 1% were terrorists, that is too much. And the issue of the day is they need to go home. And the only way to make that happen is to elect Donald J. Trump.
Well, I want to ask both of you this next question about the Afghan man accused of plotting a terror attack on behalf of ISIS on Election Day. We're learning he worked as a security guard in Afghanistan for the CIA, and it's also been reported he entered on a humanitarian parole, applied for a special immigrant visa, but had not yet taken the final steps. So, Charles, I'll ask you first. Can you talk to us about this so-called screening process for something like this? And then we'll go to you, Berney.
Well, for someone like this individual who was working as a contractor at a facility, who may not have even known he was working for the CIA, the vetting was minimal. And again, back to the problems with the vetting. Unless you have somebody that comes to the attention in a full-blown way of law enforcement and intelligence in the United States, there's no systems to ping against in Afghanistan, for example. So these people end up being a ghost. So you had somebody who had very limited interaction with respect to the position he was serving in as a security guard. So the full vetting was not done, is my point. And look, again, predictable and preventable. We cannot assure the American people that we know everything that there is to know. For example, was this person radicalized before he came to the U.S. or after he came to the U.S.? And are there other accomplices? So there's a lot of question marks here with respect to this individual and likely others in the country.
Yeah. So true, Charles. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, and I just wanted Berney's thoughts on this as well. Sorry.
We spent too much money. We were bringing in we brought $1,400 a day times 85,000 people is absolutely way too much. And that was unvetted. We had to bring money over from the Department of Defense in order to pull this off. And people failed to understand while this was going on, DHS was on lockdown for COVID, so we were operating as still working at the work from home system. Although many of us were emergency essential, like myself, I had to go to work every day. But the issue of the day is that this was a policy that was totally unprecedented and not thought out. And I don't think that Mr. Biden and Ms. Harris had any real understanding of what they were bringing to the American soil. So now here we are with people that are potential terrorists on our soil, and we've got to get them out of here for the safety of the American people.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you for all you do. Charles Marino, Berney Flowers, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.